So we're looking at Unit 2, Lesson 3, and today's lesson is writing this function in what's called a factored form. So I'm hoping by the end of this, you'll be able to say, I can write the function of a graph in factored form. So a real quick reminder that we already looked at the vertex form, and so this is just the same equation written in a different format, known as factored form, okay? And the factor form of a quadratic equation looks like this, and we're going to put three numbers in here. Once again, just like we did last time, we're putting three numbers here. The three numbers are referred to, once again, as A, and that's the A, is the same A that we did in this equation right here with A. And the other two ones, we are calling them R and S, and they're little lowercase or little letter R, little letter S. So let's take an example of a question and see if we can solve that. So you'll notice with this equation here, or this function here, what's different about this one is that we actually know the location of the x-intercepts. So these are our x-intercepts here. I have an x-intercept at -5, 0, and I have another x-intercept here at 3, 0. And we're going to use the x-intercepts. So it doesn't matter which one is which. One of those is R, and one of those is S. So R equals, I'll use this one to be R equals -5, and S equals +3. Okay? So it's quite simple. So we just take those values to start, and we're going to put those into our equation. So I know Y equals A, X minus -5. And we have to be, once again, super careful with the positives and negatives. So this equation, this generic form here, has a negative in front of the R and the S. So when the R or S, or both of them, have a negative, we end up with what I call a double negative. And so that's the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to fix that to say X plus 5 and X take away 3. So be super careful of your signs. Okay, now we do the exact same thing that we did in our previous problem, is that we need to know the A value. And so what we're going to do to find A, use any point on the graph, except for the two that we already used. We already used the roots here, or the x-intercepts, or the zeros, whatever you want to call them. To find A, use any other point. I'll put the word other in there. Other point. Okay. So it doesn't really matter which point I use. Just make that sure that looks like an R. There we go. Okay. So I'm looking at my graph, and I want to find any points that I know that are exact. And these are not easy. That one's close. But oh, look at this one. It was given to us. We can use that point. And just remember that that is X and Y. So X equals -1, Y equals -8. So I'm going to rewrite my equation. I'm just going to do it like this. Okay, and what I'm going to do is where it said Y, I'm going to put in -8, and where it said X, which is those two, I'm going to put in -1. Okay, so there we are, just a little bit of math now, and we'll have this solved so that we can find what this equals. Let's see, -8 equals A times 4 times -4. -8 equals A times -16. Divide both sides by -16. And I'm going to see that A equals a positive 1/2. There's my A value. So all I have to do now is go back and put that in my equation right here. So let's just state my final answer here. So I'll do it in green. Y equals A, which is a half. And then I had X plus 5 and X take away 3. there's the function in factored form of my graph. Let's do one more example. Okay, here we are again. I have a graph, and once again, it's giving me my x-intercepts right here. Those are my x-intercepts. So I'm going to use -6 and -3. How about r is -6, s equals -3. So I'm going to write my equation as y equals a, x take away -6, x take away -3. And now I'm going to clean up my double negatives again. A, x plus 6, x plus 3. I would be done if I knew what a was. So I need to find a. So to find a, I need a point. Oh, look, there's a point right here. It's 0, -6. So I'm going to use 0, -6. And I'm going to write out my equation. So I'm going to go, so -6, that's y, equals a. And then x is 0 plus 6 and 0 plus 3. There we go. Once again, I just need to solve using my algebra. And so I'm going to say -6 equals a times 6 times 3. So -6 equals a times 18. I'm going to divide both sides by 18. And we're going to see that a equals -1/3. You're best leaving that as a fraction, just reduced fraction. So a is -1/3. So now my final answer, y equals a, which is -1/3, x plus 6, x plus 3. That's how we write our equations in factored form.